When the pupae become darker, the first workers will hatch a few days later. In this case, the colony's food needs increase, so give them fresh food. The first workers will not really go out from the nest yet, rather they help the queen to nursing the brood. But in the test tube setup, they can find the food, so still feed them here after the first workers hatch. The most ant species have social stomach, so workers can share the food in the nest with the queen and with the other workers. They can share it through their mouths. You can tell how well fed a colony is by looking at how swollen their gaster is. If their abdomen panel splits and some lines appears on their gasters, we can be sure that they have plenty of food and workers have much food reserve in their body, which they can share with the whole colony. This is a very effective survival strategy for ants, since not all individuals, especially the queen, need to leave the nest to feed. I know that when the first workers hatched, then everyone can hardly wait to move their ants into a formicarium, but don't forget that we have to be patient in the first period. With each worker, the colony's chance of survival increases, but until there are enough of them, don't put them in too big place. In such cases, all we have to do is continue to feed and clean them, but this time have to do it much more carefully, to not stressing them with vibrates and avoid the escape of workers. At this point could happen some defense mechanisms from the ants. Sometimes they cover the honey in the test tube with a cotton ball or garbage to prevent themselves from getting stuck in it. They are ready for the moving when there are already so many ants in the test tube that we can't feed them. This means a different number of individuals for each species. For larger species, it may be at 10 workers require the larger place, while this number could be 50 or 100 individuals with smaller ones. But I have already mentioned that the smaller species reproduce faster, so maybe they can reach the 100 workers earlier than the bigger ones, the 10 workers. The largest species can easily only reach the 5 workers in the first year. So if the feeding becomes risky, the colony needs a bigger place. In this case, we have two options. Can move them in a smaller, L-shaped formicarium, or can keep them with a free-range ant farming in a bigger formicarium. Click to choose an option.